Welcome to Pucked Up Hockey Moms, the landing space for moms of all ages, shapes, and sizes. And we won't hate it if the non-mom joins either. We just hope your ears are as unfiltered as our mouths, and you're as passionate about hockey as we are. It's time to get offside, ladies, and no whistles are being blown here. I'm your host, Amanda, and today we have Tricia joining us to talk about her hockey experience. Welcome, Tricia.
Thanks for having me.
I'm happy you joined us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive in?
I'm a mom of 3 girls, live in Souk, and we have one daughter in competitive sports right now.
Nice. How about you tell us about your first memory of joining the hockey community and what that was like?
My first memory of joining hockey, our middle child actually went and tried hockey for a day. And
Day.
it was like bring a friend day, and you know how they try
Okay.
and suck you in.
Yeah.
And we thought, oh, this will be great because in our smaller community, a lot of the kids played hockey. And we thought, oh,
Yeah.
perfect, join hockey, and then you're with the group, you're with your classmates. Lots of girls played hockey at the time. That year, I think they had a whole team of girls, which was kind of unheard of back then. It's got to be over 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So we went for the day, and I was absolutely like overwhelmed going in, getting her dressed, and everybody had already been on the team for a couple months, and just getting her dressed and out there was a lot. It was hot. She was panicky. She was nervous. And in the end, everybody was taking it really serious.
Yeah.
And I
How
felt,
old was she then?
well, she was probably 8 or 7.
Okay.
She was pretty little, like grade
Yeah.
1 or grade 2 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And she could skate, but she didn't enjoy how the gear felt on her body. And she had never
Yeah.
worn it ever before. And it was somebody else's gear that was like, here, borrow this and go for it. And it was just
Yeah.
really overwhelming for her. She's a pretty sensitive kid.
Yeah.
And the parents were taking it so serious, like, oh, you got to get out there, you got to do this, you got to do that. And it was just a lot of pressure. And I felt that if we had just taken it maybe a bit slower, she would have really enjoyed it because she
Yeah.
likes the game aspect of it. And I think she would have been more focused on that, but everybody was so focused on her and getting out there, she just shut down and didn't want to do it. And
It was too
then,
much too soon or all at once.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just go, go, go. And it wasn't fun. It was like serious business.
Yeah.
Like she could
I
feel
mean,
it
hockey
already.
is serious business.
It is. Well, back
But
then
it's
I
supposed
didn't
to be
know.
fun.
So she went out, and then afterwards they came off and they're like, okay, you can play with the novice kids. And I had no idea what that meant. And I was like, okay. And that meant that she wasn't going to play with her peers at the time.
Yeah.
They wanted her to play down because it would have been too dangerous for her at a 7-year-old. I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
So we were like, nah, it's not for us. We didn't want to be a
Yeah.
part of that kind of attitude and just the seriousness of it all. It was like, no, we're not there as
Yeah.
parents or
It was just
for
too
her.
intense. Yeah.
Exactly.
Crazy. And then when your youngest started, like, did she ask to join for kind of similar reasons or?
Well, the 2 older girls actually, they were in like a can skate program. So they did
Okay.
skating once or twice a week, and the music and the fun and going and getting the
Yeah.
popcorn at the rink. And the third child is just dangling along and wanting to be out there with the older children. And so we
Yeah.
put her out there kind of as an underage. Like she was pretty little, but she wanted
Yeah.
it so bad. So they're like, sure, you can go on for the first half an hour every time. And she was a little bit like a bowling ball on ice. She was just everywhere, all over the ice. And she
Yeah.
loved it. And she wore her little hockey skates and a tutu everywhere she went.
That's
So
amazing.
this was when she was like 3 or 4. So then when
Yeah.
she could join hockey, she wasn't really a figure skater type. And
Yeah.
I know,
She
Amanda,
was
you've
a
seen my
wrecking ball.
child. She's not.
Yeah. She wanted to go
Yeah.
play hockey,
Yeah.
and that's fine, right? Figure skating is also a great sport, and it's just not everybody doesn't want to do most players don't want to do both. Although, I mean, Cutting Edge is one of my favorite movies, so yeah, you know. I digress on that one. Um, it's got both, like a hockey player figure skates. Okay, it's fine. It's valid. But yes, I can see how she wanted to play hockey versus figure skate. So, um, and she started right away when she was 5.
Yep.
Yeah, and she loved it.
Yes. Yes. And starting when you're younger is probably the best, to just to start right away and learn how to skate and wear the gear. And
Yeah,
it is for fun when they're 5, and
yeah, they don't stand out if they're different or anything.
there's no pressure.
Yeah,
Just get out
yeah,
there, have fun, and um, do all you can, and just do your
yeah.
best. And she loved it. She really enjoyed just the chaos and skating fast. And there was not a
Yeah.
lot of structure compared to the Can Skate program, where she enjoyed going because of the music and
Hmm.
all that stuff. But it was just, hockey's a different environment. And she
It's
really,
very different.
really enjoyed the puck and the stick and
Yeah. The puck is like a tripod that holds you up too, so that is also helpful.
the stick.
Yeah, the stick is a really good prop to hold you up.
Yes. Yeah,
I swear my kids like use that as a third skate for like a full year. So it's helpful for those that are still trying to get their balance.
for sure.
Um, yeah. And then did she start playing co-ed or did she start with just with the girls right away?
The program that was out in our community was co-ed, and she stayed
Yeah.
with them until U11.
Yeah.
During that time, it was COVID. So
Yeah.
she switched
All right.
over U11 to female, and it happened to be like the COVID year. So there was just practices and not any games or anything. So it quickly became something different. And I think
Yeah.
at that age, at U11, it became full ice then and stuff like that. So a lot of things were
Yeah.
changing within hockey, but then with COVID, everything kind of stopped as well. You just did practices, and it was different. And she wasn't loving that part of it, but she did enjoy the fact that her team was all female and the girls got to know each other and they had a lot of fun together on the ice. So
Yeah.
that was worth it for us. She really enjoyed the camaraderie of the girls and meeting new friends that weren't in her school or her classes that she already had. So it was just this whole
Yeah.
new world, especially during COVID. And you actually have this life.
Where you're in a bubble and yeah, so that's nice
Yes.
to branch out too. So that's good. Yeah, I do think I mean, there's a million great things about hockey, but like the amount of people you meet from whether you're on the same team or same association every year or switch associations, you always are meeting new kids and playing with different kids. And you'll still have like a core group that you kind of grow up with, but you're always introducing new people and getting close to people. So it's a great avenue to meet.
Hmm.
So that's awesome. When did she start doing like outside of practice and gameplay? Like she does like extra ice work and edges and power skating and stuff like that.
Yeah, she's the child that says, sign me up for everything. And she wants to go and be a
Yeah,
part of it all. Um, as soon as she could do anything extra after COVID, she would want to join it. So if we
yeah,
had time, if we had the money, if we, you know,
yeah,
we were in, because she just enjoyed it. She felt so good coming off the ice, and she would
yeah.
say, I feel happy now that I've done all these things. I feel,
Aw,
I I understand that feeling too, because when after having kids, I started jogging, and you just feel great. Like your emotions are up and you're
yeah.
inside, you're just so much happier when you've been able to be very
Exercise.
physical.
Yeah,
And
that runner's high. So the kids
yeah.
get their own little like endorphin rush too. And I mean, it's a great natural antidepressant to exercise. Like, not saying that anyone needs it, but everyone needs it. Like, everyone needs the endorphin rush that you get from exercise, right? So that she felt excited and that she recognized that she was happy after the exercise. Like, that's pretty great of her. Now, she started in public school, but is currently in an academy now. I know this obviously because your daughter and my daughter go to the same hockey academy. What enticed you to move from the public school system to a hockey academy situation? And I should explain for the listeners that like style hockey academy, it's not a team. It has ice, gym, and school all in one, but during the day. And they have teachers and stuff within it, but they still get their full hockey and gym and nutrition and stuff in there. What had you looking to switch from the public school system, like mainstream school, to the hockey academy style school?
I think for us, like it's a very
Yeah,
personal decision. And I think
absolutely.
every child is totally different. For our child, we could tell she needed more.
Yeah,
And not more in any sense that she was lacking, but just the
yeah.
style of education for her at the time was not
What you felt she needed?
it just was bringing her
Yeah,
down. Like she was in elementary school, such a happy child, wanting to go to school
yeah,
every day. Like she would get up on her own, make her lunch and out the door, just wanting to go. And then
yeah,
all of a sudden middle school hit and it's the
yeah.
age. There's a lot of children her age all put together and it was a
And the
different
hormones.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is a big adjustment for
She
them.
thought it was really a hard adjustment.
Yeah,
And in her school, she was very lucky to also have had a hockey experience at her middle
yeah,
school. And it was the only thing that made her want to go to school. So on the days when they didn't have hockey, she didn't really want to go to school. She was lacking in her schoolwork. She wasn't
yeah,
interested. And the social part was really difficult for her, I think.
yeah.
I think it's difficult for all of them, but for her,
Absolutely.
she found it draining. So hearing that there was other alternatives and not in our smaller community, there's not a lot of choice out here. So
Yeah,
we weighed out our options, the pros and cons, and decided that, for 1 year we would see if it was for her. And she absolutely
yeah,
loved it. At first it was a big adjustment again, and it was hard,
yeah,
super hard work. She found it tiring, but in a different way. But she really enjoyed, even though there was not very many girls, she really
yeah.
enjoyed the atmosphere because everybody was there for the same reason. They all wanted to get better at their sport. They were all there because they loved hockey. So
Yeah,
it
they're
was,
very goal oriented. So they had a common goal, right? So they all wanted to be better at their sport and stuff. And yeah, the dedication I can see is a lot different from our experience. You could tell that her energy was channeled and she was working harder, and you could really see the improvement on the ice. So
no, and
yeah,
her attitude is a lot better. She feels more
yeah,
worthy of everything. She just feels like she's more accepted for whatever reason. It's just her place, even though obviously there's all different grades that are there together, and so they
yeah,
see where they could go and they see what,
yeah.
how hard other kids are working, and she loves it.
Yeah, positive peer role models. It's great.
Yeah.
And they learn a lot of good respect and work as a team. It's a good atmosphere for sure. You guys are in the second year now, but do you see yourself keeping on this track, or at some point do you think you would switch to another kind of stream of school or
Well, right now, as it stands, she is happy.
yeah.
And I would like her to stay if she wants
Yeah.
to. We've left it kind of up to her. Obviously, she has to go to school somewhere. I
Yeah, fair.
homeschooled my older girls for a few years before she was in kindergarten. So
Yeah.
I knew what it would take to homeschool, and it's something we've always considered. But this is the best of both worlds. You get
Yeah.
kind of a program that is individual in a sense where she can work at her own pace. She can watch the lessons over again, which really helps
Yeah.
her. And I think that was one of our biggest benefits that we didn't realize when we switched her over, that just the way the education was being delivered to her was so much better this way.
That's all. Yeah.
So, and for some kids, they need that different approach, and some kids need a different approach. So,
Yeah.
whatever works, but we
Yeah.
were pleasantly surprised that it was something that was benefiting her, not just the hockey, not just the gym, the nutrition. It was actually the educational part that we really thought, this is really worth it because the education part is the most important for us.
Yeah, and she's doing better, so you can't ask for more in that scenario. So that's great. There have been a lot of changes, or rather, more interest in female hockey since the launch of the Professional Women Hockey League, PWHL, shall we say? Has that impacted your daughter's goals for the future now, do you think? Or like, does she want a future in hockey career, or is it just more of an option for college or something? Do you see her looking towards more of that goal now with it being out there?
She doesn't talk about it a lot, but she definitely has expressed interest in continuing to
Yeah.
play hockey for as long as possible and possibly coaching as well.
Oh,
So,
that's really sweet.
yeah.
I love when they can teach the younger ones stuff too. It's just so precious to watch because they were taught by older kids and had little stars in their eyes. And then when you get to watch the littles have stars in their eyes for our girls, any kids really, because I've seen it with my son as well. Like, I love it. I just think it's the sweetest thing ever. Does she have a plan for her post-secondary, do you think? Or is that not even something you guys have in the in your picture right now? And it's just overwhelming at times, I know.
I'm, yeah, I just don't know what options are available. Like, I just feel the female track is so small. It's
Yeah.
small regardless, male or female, but like, I don't know what she wants to do. If she
Yeah.
wants to play hockey and go to school forever, that's what she'll do. And that's totally fine with us. Like, it's just
Yeah.
really up to her. And when she says she's done, and that's fine too.
Yeah. I mean, if it gets a scholarship and you can get yourself a great education out of it, whether it's in Canada or the US, like I think that's an awesome experience for them to get travel into. I mean, trying to figure out all the paths is a bit overwhelming or scary at times. And that's part of why I want to do this podcast is so I can help delve into all the different avenues and stuff for families because it is overwhelming and not everybody knows where to start. So yeah, it's just interesting to try and figure that out. What advice do you have for anyone who finds themselves in a similar situation that's looking at leaving mainstream public school for a possible academy, what your daughter is in right now?
Well, I think, like I said before, it's dependent on the child
Yeah.
and how badly do they need that school experience, because it's definitely a different school experience in an
Yeah.
academy. It's a different focus, and you have to know your child and you have to know how far they're willing to push themselves because it's a ton of work. And
Yeah.
luckily for us, it worked out okay. But there was a moment at the beginning of her first year where it was really difficult. And I was like, oh, did
Yeah.
we make a mistake? You can take every year at a time and you can change your mind. It's okay. It's not
Yeah.
going to
It's okay to
change the
change your mind for
outcome in
sure.
the end. It doesn't
No.
make or break your hockey career. You can
No.
just do what feels right at the moment. It's okay.
Yeah. That's good advice. Is there anything that you wanted to add that I didn't ask or touch on?
I don't know.
No. Oh, popcorn. You wanted to say that one of your favorite things about hockey is popcorn at the arenas.
Yeah. When it gets serious, I just focus on the popcorn.
What kind of cheerer in the rink are you? Like, do you hide in a corner? Do you sit with all the people? Do you sit in the warm area? Because that kind of has to do with the popcorn. Like, if you're going to go get the
Oh, yeah.
popcorn and then hide with your popcorn, or are you going to share the popcorn?
I feel like every game is a little different for me, and it depends on how my child's playing where I sit. If
You're
they're
like, I'm going to
playing
move here.
if they're playing good, I don't move.
You're like, nope, I do not want to jinx it. I am sitting right here, even though I want this popcorn because this rink has the best
Yep.
popcorn.
And then as soon as I'm like getting too frustrated or I'm feeling a little, I don't, you get nervous a bit as a parent or whatever, I like,
Yeah.
okay, it's popcorn time, and I just go focus on the popcorn, get in the warm and kind of ignore it. And then if the game starts turning around and the girls on our team start winning a little, and then I can't move from the popcorn area, so I stay there. I feel like I have a lot to do with the outcome of the game, apparently.
Based on the popcorn and where you're sitting.
Exactly.
Now, does the outcome change on whether it's a licensed facility to serve with the popcorn? Or, like, and if you know it's a licensed facility or isn't a licensed facility, do you bring your own to help with the popcorn or no?
Oh, you just wing it. You just have to
You
have
just
that
wing it.
feeling and go for it. But it definitely doesn't hurt if they sell, mom juice with the popcorn. It sure can lighten the mood.
I am a really big fan of the mom juice. I would say the first time that someone, like, I could smell Bailey's in someone's coffee at a 6 a.m. Saturday morning practice, the light bulb over my head went on, and I was like, this is what hockey is all about. It's being able to drink at 6 a.m. to go along with these things. I'm dry, I'm cold, there are toilets nearby, and I have Bailey's. So that's what made hockey worth it. And the joy on my children's faces sometimes when they aren't asking for expensive hockey gear. And sometimes when they tell me they love me. But mostly it's the Baileys.
We got to get something too.
Yeah.
It's got to be for everyone. The whole
Yeah.
family event.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, And the tournaments definitely help with adding alcohol. I mean, I think I'm going to make this podcast might make me to sound like I have like alcohol like problem possibly, but I don't. Yeah, I'm embracing that I enjoy alcohol with hockey moms.
There's been no intervention yet, so we're doing good.
I mean, there was one time it was close. I gave it a 5-year break, and then I decided I didn't like quitters. So I came back to it. Nobody likes a quitter,
You're a
guys.
great role model for all us hockey moms.
I try. I really do strive for it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some travel mugs made that have mom juice on them as well with our logo so that we can match at the rink, I think.
Sounds
Yeah,
lovely.
I know. You're gonna be the first one to buy the mug. I know you are.
Getting one for free?
Um, well, maybe you'll have to have it in like every single one of your social media posts.
Oh, man.
And then everyone's gonna think you have the mom juice problem. You'll be around a bunch of small children with your mom juice.
Right. Exactly. Want some popcorn?
Oh man. Okay. What is your funniest hockey story to date? And if you don't use the one that I love, then I'll tell that one for you.
I don't have one. Do I?
I don't know. Do you?
I don't know. Is it the bird?
Yeah, it's totally the bird.
It was one of those days. We had a rough game. It was a tournament. So I was in the car with popcorn.
Did you have popcorn then?
Yes. We went to the movie. There's a movie theater next door. So we went and got popcorn, sat in the car while we waited for the next game to start. And I decided it was time to start heckling the people walking by. Maybe there was mom juice. Unfortunately for this bird, there was this really beautiful like hawk or some sort of fancy bird, and it had gotten stuck in somebody's car, I guess, and it fell out of their grill into the parking lot.
Poor bird.
Every person and kid that walked by had to stop and look at the bird.
Yeah.
So they're all looking at it and admiring this beautiful bird that's dead in the parking lot. And I'm eating my popcorn watching people go by. And then another parent goes by from our team, and I didn't know them very well at all. It was one of our first tournaments and new to us team member, I think, at the time. Yeah. And I decided to unroll my window and yell at them about the bird, telling them to get their own bird.
No, you're like, that's my bird. Get your own bird.
Luckily, that parent had a great attitude about me.
Yeah, he came in the rink and he's like, did you know that Tricia's funny? I'm like, actually, I did. I did know that Tricia's funny in a very like suspicious, unknowing way that just pops up at you. He's like, yeah, did you see the bird? So yeah, he was traumatized, but also quite impressed with the birds. And I think that was kind of one of my favorites that you just like randomly yelled out the window of your car, that's my bird, get your own bird. And he like jumped for life.
And that's when
until
you
you
know
realized it was you.
You're with your hockey family, is when they don't judge you for your behavior in between games.
No, he just wanted to buy a drink or something. He's like, I think we need to go have a drink together.
Yes.
Yeah. Then it became part of the next level stories that it will be told for the rest of time. Yeah, I think so. I know I've touched on this, and I now know that your one daughter played for a day, but, it's so news to me. Did they play any other sports? I know they're really big fans of watching WWF.
WWE. Come on now.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're so old.
WWE. I'm so old. Yeah.
Yeah, or they did like the Can Skate to Learn to Skate program, which is really fun for them. They got to be in little shows when they were younger.
Yeah.
And then my middle daughter played softball for a little bit, maybe a year or two, and just had fun with it with her friends, which was great. And
that's good.
Honestly, it was just like our hobby. Like, great, let's take you to the ball field and watch. So we kind of thought that that's what hockey was going to be like for Starly. And it was
not. The popcorn, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the popcorn at the baseball.
Candy bags back then, but yeah, it was good too.
Yeah.
So yeah, the girls also did a lot of horseback riding.
Okay.
And not serious, not competitive, like you
No.
can, but it was more for fun. And I thought hockey was going to be for fun too, like the horseback riding and the baseball, just, for fun. And it very quickly became very competitive for my youngest daughter, who is a very competitive by nature person, apparently. And so
Apparently.
she's kind of leading this whole thing. We had a horse, and at the time I said, if you decide to play with the female, there's a lot more driving because you have to drive like out of our community to go play with the girls teams.
Yeah.
We'll have to sell the horse, and you're not going to ride anymore. You're going to just be a hockey person, thinking that
Yeah.
that would talk her out of it.
Dissuade her?
Nope, sell the horse. So
Wow.
unfortunately, yeah, which, of course was my love too. Like I would go
Yeah.
hiking and the horses, I would walk and the horses would ride. And
Yeah.
so that kind of ended that for all of us. So we sold the horse
Yeah.
and moved on to hockey full time. It feels like.
Yeah. Well, hockey isn't really like your one child wants to play hockey, so that one child just goes and then they're all by themselves in hockey land. It's like a full family event when one
Yeah.
child plays hockey, whether anyone else is, because you're just so like ingratiated in this like family, really. Like, I mean, sometimes there's family members that don't get along, but you're still like one big family community, right? Like it's a full village that
Yep.
good or bad or the ugly, like you're there for each other. Somebody forgets some gear. Oh, I got it. Like you need a volunteer. I got it. It's just, yeah, the
Yeah.
whole family's involved and they're super willing to help. So yeah, it's not just a I'll drop you off and go wait in the car type of sport very much. So especially if they're playing competitively, it's I might take a nap while waiting because I had to bring you to the rink 2 hours before your practice started, and then I'll come in and be there for 2.5 hours and wait the half hour for you to get ungeared.
Yes.
And there goes my entire day. That should have just been a 2 hour game.
Well,
But
hence the reason
yeah,
we couldn't have a horse as well. It was just too much
yeah,
time. So yeah, and now the other two are adults and
yeah,
do their own thing and playing lacrosse, and
yes,
that's for fun,
yeah,
please.
yeah. She's good at that one. She plays with female and co-ed that one too, doesn't she? In the spring.
Just female now. She started off with the
Yeah.
co-ed but switched to all female because it's quite a rough sport, like hockey can be as well. And
Hmm.
time,
Time.
no time.
Yeah. Yeah, because she does spring hockey as well as lacrosse, so it'd be a lot to throw in two lacrosse teams and a spring team. But if you want something done, give it to a busy person. And if you want it done really well, give it to a hockey mom. So,
Is your daughter going to join
um,
lacrosse this year?
no, no, she did 1 year of field and 1 year of box lacrosse, and then COVID happened, and then she just didn't really want to get back into it. She did love it, but she just chose hockey as her full-time passion and hasn't really looked back unless it involves art or baking. So, yeah, she has a creative outlet and she has her aggressive, challenging outlet on the ice. So, yeah, it's good. She can do both, and I'm happy with those. Baking is great, just not for my waistline. Did you ever play a team sport?
I played softball, fastball.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
And I wanted to be in a competitive stream,
Yeah,
but my parents were not into it.
that's fair.
I think.
Yeah.
And back then too, there wasn't as much opportunity. You just do this for 2 months and that's it. You're good. And then go
Yeah.
do swimming lessons or whatever the next thing was. And
Yeah.
I can see the fun that we had in it and whatnot, but this is next level what we're doing now for our kids. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot more opportunity if they really love it to keep going.
And that's good. I mean, it's really important. Our girls are 13 now, and this next year is really a defining year because there's something like 80% of girls stop sport by the time they're 14, and they just don't keep playing. The next year is kind of a make it or break it on whether they want to keep going on stuff. And sports are so important for them to stay active. As long as my kid wants it, we'll keep going. But it's still, yeah, this is one of their defining years on whether they decide to keep going with sports or just hang out with the girls at the mall, I guess. I don't know what the other choice is.
Well, that will be
It's
a
hard
hard
to tell.
transition for all of us if it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have a lot more money, maybe.
Maybe.
I'd find something. I'd find something else to spend it on. So I have questions that I'm asking now because I don't know why, but I think it's entertaining for me anyway. If you could speak to a sports player in any sport or their mom, which would you prefer? The player, like the athlete, or the athlete's mom? And who would it be?
I don't know. I think it would definitely be an athlete because we
Not their
all,
mom?
well, moms don't know anything, do we? Sad.
Well, there, time to quit the podcast, guys.
Delete
Moms
it.
know nothing.
No, I think, honestly, I think talking to an athlete, because I wonder what's going through my
Through
child's
their
brain
mind.
at all times. And I get no answers. Everything's
Yeah.
fine. As long as she gets to go skating that day or play hockey, she loves the game. But
Yeah.
I would love to know, I would love to talk to an athlete, any athlete, it could be any sport that played competitively and just ask them about how their experience was.
No, that's good. I like that avenue. I just curious on the mom side of what helped them get their kid there, but I would really be interested to know because I do get like one word answers from my children, especially my child that doesn't live in the same country as me. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
when
like, you need more than one word, like O and the letter O and K, or like, no, I need more than that. So then he'd be like, okay, mom. I'm like, awesome. Thanks for that loophole. There's two words there. Yeah, yeah. So it would be interesting. Do you listen to podcasts? Because I mean, otherwise I can't really ask this question if you don't listen to podcasts other than this one. Because I know you've listened to this one because I've forced you.
I don't listen to podcasts. I'm a very visual person.
Yeah,
I find it difficult to listen to podcasts, to be honest with you. And I haven't found any that I really love. Do you know
that's
any?
fair.
Is there some out there I'm missing?
I don't think you'd really like this one. Um, I'll keep looking for you though.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully you can come back again and we can talk about something other than bird story because I know there's some other funny ones. But thank you.
Thank you.
Until next week, people, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in today, and we appreciate you listening. Catch us next week for another mix of hockey tales, tricks, and or tips.